What's going on, everybody? Jesse Montaño out here, Ball Arena. Avs hold on, 5-2. Got a little dicey there late, but they hold on to get it done. Mackenzie Blackwood outstanding in his debut. 5-2 is the final, but Mackenzie Blackwood was the story. He allowed them to stay in this game long enough that they could claw back in. We're going to talk about all of it. We're going to answer you guys' questions, starting here for my guy Brendan. Real talk, though. Did the Avalanche lose this game if Alexander Georgiev is starting? Look, I don't know. And that was always the problem with Alexander Georgiev. I don't know. You didn't know what you were going to get on any given night. It was too up and down, and he could have turned in a performance like this, or it could have been a lot of like what we saw earlier this season, where it just wasn't quite good enough. Mackenzie Blackwood was outstanding. I'm not sure if the Avs went with Georgiev in, because Mackenzie Blackwood was in, and he was the reason the Avs were able to win this game tonight. We got a question coming up here in a second about them starting on time, so I'll save a little bit of my Blackwood spiel for that. But he was great. I thought he looked sharp, in position, focused. I think a lot about Pavel Francouz, who, in my opinion, was very positionally sound. He made a lot of his saves not looking super busy. That was what Blackwood did here tonight, in my opinion, for the Avs. Real calming presence, and just allowed them to settle in. He was great. I'm not sure if the Avs get this same result with the old tandem, because they were not good in the first period. Mackenzie Blackwood had to be sharp. Here it is. Why does this team not start on time? It's definitely something that has become a little bit of a recurring theme this season. Not quite the first 10 minutes they want, not the first period they want. I said first twice in a row. You guys know I hate doing that. Not the start that they wanted, but again, this is why you pay a goalie. And this is why a team like the Avalanche, who are dealing with a lot of injuries, who are dealing with a lot of roster uncertainty, need a goaltender that can play above average, can make all the stops that you need and a couple that they shouldn't make. That's what Mackenzie Blackwood did here for them tonight, and that was part of the reason why it just really didn't feel like it was working with Georgiev and Annunen. We talked to Yus Saninen this morning. He was in great spirits, said things have been going great for him. I think he's in a good spot. Alexander Georgiev, I think he's in a good spot. We talked to Shang Peng yesterday on the podcast, and he had a really good conversation with Georgiev in San Jose. I think those guys are where they need to be. This Avalanche team needed a little bit more from their goaltender. They needed someone who could help fill in the gaps that the Avs are dealing with right now with the injuries. Mackenzie Blackwood did that tonight, but that is not to say that the Avs can just not worry about the starts of games. They need to start on time, and the process needs to get better early on, no doubt about it. Next question here. The power play is really not doing well. I think Middlestat should be on PP2. What is the problem that you see? Look, we talked about it a couple times. I do think that there is a little bit of stick gripping going on right now. I think they can be overpassing at times, not quite shooting, looking for that perfect play to try to break through on the power play. On the flip side, for a large portion of the season, the power play has been good. It maybe just feels a little bit stale. I get the thought process behind moving Casey Middlestat and Ross Colton back onto that top unit. I just think that you have two elite net front presence guys in Val Nichushkin and and Arturi Lehkonen. I would maybe leave Ross Colton there in that bumper spot and put Val Nichushkin back down low, see if that can maybe spark things a bit, because Ross Colton, we talked about it on the pod earlier this week, not afraid to shoot the puck from that bumper spot. I think that's what the Avs need a little bit more of right now. They got to clean up the zone entries. It's gotten a little bit better. They're at least establishing the zone right now. But, yeah, you got to put the pucks to the net, and you got to crash the net and pick up rebounds in front. That's when this team is at its most dangerous. Last question here. If goaltending has indeed been solved, which we're still waiting to see, it's just one game, what needs worked on next? There's a lot of elite talent on this team, but overall this group doesn't quite feel right yet. They can't just shrug their shoulders and say they're waiting to be healthy. They'll never be healthy. There's definitely an element to it of you want to wait to see, you can't go out and make a move tomorrow because you are waiting to see what's happening with the health of several of your players, Miles Wood, Gabe Landeskog in particular, in terms of how long are they going to be out. But I think between now and, let's say, the start of the Four Nations tournament in mid-February, I do think it's going to be really dialed in on analyzing this team for the front office, where they're at, where they need to get better, where they could use more bodies, where they're probably good. I think you need another bottom six forward, and then I think you need a depth defenseman to fill in 6-7 if necessary. Preferably maybe a guy that could fit into your middle six for your forward groups, but just being realistic with cost, cap space, all of those things, I'm going to say if you can bolster that bottom half of your forward group with true NHL talent, that's going to go a long way for the Avs. And then if you can get one more guy in the bottom part of that defensive group, I think that would help out a lot as well. That's going to do it for us here from Ball Arena, guys. Not the Avs' best game, but they do come out with a 5-2 win. Mackenzie Blackwood was outstanding. First star of the game and player of the game in the locker room. He got the big hat. You can catch all of that on Guerrilla Sports, YouTube, socials, all of it. Plus, our very own Megan Angley was up at Teddy Bear Toss Night for the Colorado Eagles. A bunch of great content coming from there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. I'm Jesse Montaño. No practice for the Avs tomorrow, so an off day for the Avs. But we will be back at it on Monday. Then we'll be on the road with the team in California later this week. So lots of content coming to you guys. And hey, shout out to Blake for editing this together, this video you're watching right now. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great night. I'm Jesse Montaño with Guerrilla Sports.